I'm Sharon Savidson. Welcome to my podcast, Uplevel Your Life with Sharon. I'm a certified coach and a holistic practitioner. I'm also a mother of 2 adult children. I started this podcast so that I can give you bite-sized pieces and tools that you can take away with you, so that you can use these in your daily life. In all of my years of practice, my clients have told me that it helps them to have specific tools that they can use and practice on a daily basis. So, I want to provide you with many tools, and then you can decide which of the tools resonate with you that you can use on a daily basis or when you need them. So, whether you are feeling frustrated with life or you're just looking to enhance your life, this podcast is for you. If you are ready to uplevel your life, you're in the right place. So let's move forward together. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I have a very special guest with us here today. Hi, David.
Hello, Sharon. Hello, everyone.
David Zarza. So, David is a renowned author, speaker, and intuitive located in Seattle, Washington, with a background in psychology and a passion for spirituality. David is the perfect marriage of science and spirit. He's been featured on national television and syndicated radio with a reach of millions. David's a highly motivating integrity coach and life strategist, aligning you internally and with the universe as a whole. Your life opens up to accept all the opportunities and successes that you deserve. He's worked with companies and organizations in a broad range of fields. His specialty is forecasting and evaluating options available to the client and tapping into non-obvious potentials and opportunities. In addition to local workshops that are well attended on topics ranging from cultivating integrity to activate your best life, to exploring your dark side, to reclaim your power, creativity and dreams, David is constantly working on his next interesting book, provocative new thought project, or developing new material for his clients. For example, his upcoming Surfing the Apocalypse series set to debut in August 2025.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Sharon. That sounded lovely.
So David and I have been friends since 2002.
Oh my goodness.
We met
Yes.
at the Hypnosis Institute in LA.
Mm-hmm.
That is where we met each other. And
Mm-hmm.
we've been friends ever since.
I know. I remember first sitting right next to you in our first workshop. And then
Right?
you started up a conversation and we just hit it off since.
That would sound like me
Yeah.
talking to anyone. Yes.
Absolutely.
And my daughter Jamie still talks about you and things that you said to her and things that you told her that was spot on.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
David, tell us about your journey and how you got to where you are.
So it started when I was 4 years old. I'm just kidding. No. Uh, I always had this fascination with the unknown, okay? With mysteries, even things like UFOs, right? But what always piqued my interest was extraordinary abilities that humans could have. You know, everything from like holding your breath for an extra long time to being able to see things at a distance just using your mind, right? All of that fascinated me. And so when I was younger, because I was also naturally experiencing spontaneous out of body travel as a kid, I was always trying to figure out like, is what I'm experiencing one of these like extraordinary abilities that people, talk about or people know about? And so I just dove into every single book, every single show that existed, right? And weirdly, nothing that I explored or read about touch on my specific experiences for the out of body travel, but the extraordinary knowing, that's where it really felt like they were talking about me and to me. Yeah. So
How old were you
that's where the psychicness came from. How old was I
when it started?
when it started? Oh my gosh. Well, honestly, my my family still tells stories of when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and my aunts who were pregnant at the time would ask me, what's my baby gonna be? And I was right like all the time. So ever since then, but not seriously until I was about 12, 13, when I was using like my mind to see things from my friends in high school. Yeah,
So I have a question because
sure.
I grew up with a mother who was born in China and my grandparents I come from the lineage of psychic and all of that, right? So I was exposed to it. We used to joke about hypnosis. My brothers used to tease me and go, well, I'm just going to hypnotize you to go and do exactly what I want you to do. But so I grew up with it. Was it around you? Like, were your family like that? Or was it because we were odd? Like, we were different. People around us, my mother exposed us to people that were
Yeah.
like-minded, but the majority of people around us were not like that. So were you exposed to it through your family or did they?
Surprisingly, no.
Right.
Um, I was always like the weird one, right?
Yes.
And so
I know what that feels like.
exactly, I was gonna say, so when you and I connected, right? And I noticed an inquisitiveness, a curiosity, and an openness that is not like the usual. Of course, we hit it off, right? We had a lot to talk about. But no, in my family, we grew up very like religious, Catholic. Um, I sometimes joke that we were like Mexican Amish because because like after school we would do chores and then our homework and then like dinner and then go to sleep, right? It was we really didn't watch much like television or listen to music um until we got older. Uh so no, it was a very sheltered life, but I do have to say that my mom was always very curious about the weird things I would tell her, and so she would always ask for like follow-up questions or additional information. So if any listeners out there have kids who are like kind of weird or who experience things that are not usual to them, the parent, ask them questions, ask the good questions, be open and not necessarily dismissive that it could just be their imagination.
David, don't you think that we're all born with the
We're
ability to
all
do
we're
that?
all born psychic. We're all born special and different, just in our own unique way, you know? And and I've noticed, you probably noticed this too in your clients. Um, Anyone who seems really good in their field has a higher level of psychicness. That's what I've noticed. Like you as a coach, you have a higher than normal intuition, right? I have clients who are like Boeing engineers who actively explore this side of themselves, and you would never think it just by looking at them.
Well, so I interviewed somebody the other day and we were talking about intuition, but I think that it's also a matter of cultivating it, right? And allowing it to come through and so then depending on what the mirror is, I've got people that straight up and down say to me, I don't want to hear anything. You talk nonsense, like you talk absolute nonsense. But I get downloads with my clients. Like something will drop into my head, and my clients all know me when I start to laugh because sometimes it's absurd and it means absolutely nothing to me, right? And then I'll say, let me just share with you what's coming up for me. But if it doesn't resonate with you, don't take it on. But it's about teaching them to tap into their intuition and their knowingness, their gut feel, all of that, right? So when you
Absolutely.
have a kid that comes in that says things and then the family shut it down, then that's where we kind of stop trusting what we know to maybe be true when we're young, or the opposite of if we've got a family that encourages us as minded, then
Mhm.
it enhances it.
Absolutely. That openness, that curiosity, when encouraged as a child, will just expand more into enhanced empathy, right? A
Right,
deeper, richer internal world, um,
right.
greater imagination, right? A natural feeling of safety when open or encountering new experiences. Yeah, I will always opt for curiosity and exploring what's new over shutting it down because it might be scary.
Right. I
Mhm.
have to just say this because
Mhm.
I can think of how many conversations we've had. I love having conversations with you
Me
because
too. Likewise.
you opened my eyes and my mind to things that while I was exposed to UFOs and ETs and all of that, there were
Mhm.
things that I wasn't exposed to, like parallel universes. And I
Oh
remember exactly where I was sitting when we had this conversation. And I remember you telling me, and I could not wrap my head around it. Right. And this was like many years ago. I mean,
oh
like
yeah.
10 years ago.
Was
Right.
this you were in Calabasas?
I was
Yeah.
in yeah, when I
Yeah.
was in Calabasas. And so right now I'm in San Diego, but it's so long ago and all of these different conversations that I had I had access to things that were different and you just opened my eyes to
Mhm.
possibilities and subjects that I was not familiar with, which I love, and you always do that. I mean, your books and your and everything about you is just
Yeah.
incredible.
Well, thank you. So, like expanding a little bit on that, um, we can absolutely talk about the other realities, the other yous, right? Or we can keep it to just this incarnation, just this life, right? This reality. Um, we can go anywhere you want. What do you
I,
think your
let's
listeners
explore
might be
that.
curious
Like,
about?
I'm sorry.
What do you think your listeners might be curious about?
I don't know. Why don't we tap into the other yous? Let's do a bit of both. Let's talk a little bit about, if it feels right to only be exploring this because it feels too out of
Well,
the comfort
no,
zone, I want to say, because I remember
absolutely.
thinking parallel universes. You telling me that, feels so uncomfortable, and yet now it's like this is what it is. So tap
Natural.
into a little bit of both.
So I'm gonna start with like us, right? Like you and me. Um, and it's also this is also a tool, this is a concept, an idea that I share with all my coaching clients, and some psychic clients, because some psychic clients just want to know, what's coming up for them, what's the reason things are happening in their life right now, right? But with the coaching clients, I teach them the mechanics by how reality and we work within reality, right?
Right.
Um, and it's when I talk about integrity.
Expand.
What was that? Oh, yeah, yeah. And the idea of universal integrity. Okay, so let me explain. Um, all of us, we are built pretty much the same way. We have three components, right? We have our mind, our consciousness, right? We have this vehicle, our body, by which we maneuver through this reality. And we also have a spirit, which is like the energy that animates it all, right? Most people know how to deal with their consciousness or their mind by properly feeding it, right? Thinking certain ways, opening up to new ideas, having proper judgment and perception, things like that. We also know how to take care of our bodies, right? Like you're into fitness, you know how to exercise it, move it, nourish it, bathe it, right? Treat it. But most people have zero idea for how to deal or handle their spirit, right?
Hmm.
It's like unknown territory.
Hmm.
And because I've had these experiences as a psychic, I've had to ask like why things happen the way they do or why things work the way they do. And I've had the most amazing teacher, which I call the universe, to guide me through this whole process, right? And in exploring the spirit, I found out that it is not just this wispy ghost of a thing that only becomes active when we experience physical death, right? That's not the point of it. In fact, it's incredibly active at all times within our life, every moment, even while we're sleeping, right? It is the part of us that has what I call our magic. It's the one that can send, grace or miraculous healing to someone we love, right? It's the part of us that is sensitive to the energies around us, whether we know how to make sense of it or not. It's also the part of us that can travel forward in time or backward in time, if we have like a wound in our history, right? Part of our spirit goes back to us then, um, and can scout out before you in time for for you to be like in the right place at the right time, depending on what you wish to like manifest or experience, things like that. And with these three parts, I focus mainly on the spirit, right? And the spirit intersects with the body and the mind naturally because we're just like a whole being,
Right.
right? Um, and that's where integrity comes into play. Like imagine these three pieces as like panes of glass, right?
Yeah.
And ideally, to me, integrity is when all the panes of glass are in alignment, right? Where if light shines through, it shines through clearly and brightly, right?
Right.
That's what I call integrity. And you can experience it. You probably experience it, I know for sure, when you feel in complete alignment with your mind, body, and spirit,
Right.
right? It can happen around relationships. It can happen around career possibilities or opportunities. It can happen around the right food to buy at Whole Foods today, right? You can experience that level of integrity at any moment in time. And I propose to my clients to try to cultivate it as often as they can in their lives. But
Okay.
but they're not looking for perfection, just consistency.
Right.
Yeah. So taking it further,
Yes.
when we are in that full alignment, when we're fully in integrity, it's as if the universe opens up to us. Because when that happens, it's like the universe sees us as more responsible, right? And more trustworthy with inspiration or ideas or missions or purposes so that we can make them manifest and real in this world. And that is why I focus on integrity and cultivating that alignment because you can make your life incredibly magical regardless of where you're starting at right now.
Yes, I totally agree with that, the magic and the trusting and the everything else. But let's say I am someone who doesn't believe in this at all. I'm living in the 3D.
Oh
I,
yeah.
I don't even, what does that even mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
how do I tap into my soul?
Okay. Okay. So just for the sake of this conversation, right? I'm gonna make a distinction between soul and spirit just for us.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Yes.
Okay. So to me, soul is like the great, big, huge energy of all of humanity in
Okay.
all of like this universe, right? All of creation. It's great, big, huge.
Wait. So let me, I just really want to understand this because maybe we just all use different words. Are
Sure.
you talking about what someone may consider God or the universe? So you're talking
Correct.
about the oneness that if you believe
Correct.
we're all part of, we break off from the universal oneness. So you're
Yep. Yep.
saying that's soul. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, yeah. I imagine it like a pool of water that extends throughout all of creation,
Okay.
right? And the breaking off that you mentioned is like a drop of water that we have within us, and that is our spirit. It's our conscious experience of the great big huge soul.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make another distinction here,
Sure.
please, if you don't
Yes.
mind,
Yeah.
because people make reference to spirit gave me a message to tell
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
So when we're talking about that kind of spirit, we're not talking about our spirit. We're talking about maybe another being or a entity, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, it
Okay.
can. It usually is because to me, spirit is our conscious experience of the great big huge soul, right? But our conscious experience of that great big huge soul could have many manifestations, like the many faces of God, right?
Okay.
So yes, we're talking about the same thing. When spirit like tells us something, it can be this graspable,
Right.
interactable piece of the great big huge energy
Got it.
that we can refer to as spirit. Yeah,
Okay.
because
Okay.
because it is usually unseen and it usually contains consciousness within it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I get it as a knowing. So I don't
There you go.
necessarily say spirit. I don't have necessarily have a specific thing giving me the information, but it'll pop into my head or I sense something. And so
Then, then
that'll
you are then you are absolutely referring to the same thing I am because
right,
your spirit connects to that. Yeah.
right. Okay. So carry on about how we access our spirit.
Oh yeah. And so for like three-dimensional people, okay, just for the sake of conversation, also, I'm gonna use a term from Harry Potter. Do you know the term Muggle?
Remind me.
Okay. Okay. So in Harry Potter, there are wizards, right? There are magical people. And there are ordinary people, right, who are not open to magic, and they're called muggles.
Got it. Okay.
These mechanics that I talk about work for wizards, like us and probably your listeners, but they also absolutely work for muggles, people who
Okay.
have no, they might be atheistic, right? They may be completely materialistic in the sense that they don't believe that there is a divine or that we even have a spirit. But then I'm like, let me show you. Okay.
Okay.
And there is one thing that if your listeners take away, if they do this consistently, right, for even 30 days, right? 2 weeks for sure. 30 days, absolutely. If they do this consistently for 30 days, it will absolutely change their life. Okay? Um,
Wait.
ready? So, so
Ready?
so to me, um, I'm going to share a little bit about why this matters. Okay?
Okay.
So, like I said, our spirit is completely active at all times, and sometimes it scouts out before us, right? Or it knows more than we do because we can only be wherever our body is, right? But our spirit can be free, like independent of our body because it's still connected, it's still animating it. Excuse me. Um, so let's say we tell ourselves, today, I've been wanting to work out and I haven't done it this whole year. It's already July. Today after work, I'm finally going to go and take that class at the gym I signed up at, right? Um, here comes 5 o'clock. It's after work. You're driving to the gym and you see your favorite fast food place and you decide to stop there instead because you're so tired from the day, right? So you go home, you're sitting on your couch and your spirit is at the gym, right? Where you said you were going to be at 5 o'clock. Your spirit comes to you because you're not there at 5 o'clock and it finds you on the couch eating this fast food, right? Doing that once, no big problem, no big deal, right? But how many times do we do that same thing over and over and over, where we say we're going to do XYZ or we're going to be ABC, right? And we don't do it. What that ends up happening is it actually messes up our relationship with our own spirit. Okay. It never destroys that relationship, but it can erode it. Okay. And when we erode our relationship with our own spirit, because our spirit is that magical part of us, right? That has access to miracles, that has access to extraordinary knowing, that has access to all these wonderful things. If we ruin our relationship, next time we say, okay, spirit, for sure, this time I'm going to go to the gym after work. Our spirit might, and this is just an example I give, right? Because it's not entirely how it works. Our spirit might say, yeah, right. I don't believe you. And so it doesn't do anything, right? It doesn't do anything to help us. In order to repair that, we have to do two things. And this is
Mm.
where the practice comes in. Okay. Number one, we must keep our word to ourselves, right? We must not break our word to ourselves. And that means you cannot think, you cannot say something that you plan to do or wish to do if you're not close to 100% certain you will follow through on it. Okay? You can't even think it. Don't even think it. Because if you're truly not feeling it, if you're not in alignment with that thing, don't think it, don't say it, don't tell yourself you're going to do it because you will just end up ruining or messing your relationship with your spirit if you don't follow through. So that's
Well, I've got another whole tangent that's going to go down, but
go
finish
for
with
it.
the second one. Finish with the
Okay.
second one and let me see whether that answers the question or not.
Sure. So that's how you stop like that energetic leak, right? That's how you stop life feeling hard.
Okay.
Because when you have messed up your relationship with your spirit, and by the way, this can happen when you're as young as a child, right? When someone in authority, like a parent or a teacher, or or an older person, tells you, um, don't tell your mom about this, right? Or or your neighbor, like, hurts you just by accident, right? But the kid says, please don't tell your parents, right? When you can be pushed out of integrity for many reasons, and most of the reasons are in cases like that, when we don't want to cause stress to another person, and so we end up suffering, being out of integrity, wanting to say something, but we don't.
Well, like when I was playing ball, my cousin and I were hitting the tennis ball against the wall,
Mhm.
and he hit it and it broke the window, and he made me say it was me. But
There
I'm
you
so
go.
honest that it's like, I mean, I didn't want to get him into trouble, but it was lying, and I don't do well with lying. So
Yeah. 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 That's an absolutely perfect example. Yeah.
David, this goes down this whole thing of our conscious mind and what we're aware of, and then what is hidden beneath and with the subconscious mind, and how we have to access the subconscious mind because that is why people say they're going to do things and then they don't follow through because there's
True.
some conflict at a subconscious level. There's something,
Hmm.
that's the one thing. But
Yeah.
the second part of that is, and of course, this is what I deal with my clients all the time, is the most important relationship is the one with yourself. And we're so
Absolutely.
busy worrying about being in integrity or whatever for somebody else. And yet the way we treat ourselves is the complete opposite of how we treat somebody else, maybe. And that's what you're saying is that the discord between the body and the spirit and the integrity
Right.
of abandoning yourself.
Yes, correct. Absolutely. That is exactly what I'm talking about. That at first you must prioritize you. And because it seems like there usually is no apparent consequence if I don't go to the gym at 5 o'clock after work, right? It seems like there's no negative consequence, but it's because we don't have a sensitive and clear enough relationship with our
Right.
spirit. Because if we did, we would feel the stress of not following through. We would feel like the tension of like, no, there's more gravity following through than there is flaking out. Yeah.
I think when you talk about the consequences, I
Hmm.
really see down the line, right? I see the tree diagram of all the different paths of the ramifications of not showing up in integrity for yourself, because that will follow you with every relationship, with everything that you do. It's this
You,
domino effect.
you get it. Absolutely. It's cumulative. Yeah. And so if you are tolerating being uncomfortable on a daily basis, you will be even more tolerant if that uncomfortable grows by a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Really
So,
abandoning yourself.
so let me tell you, go ahead.
No, I think
Oh,
you're going to
I
tell
was
me.
gonna say, let me give you the secret to repair your relationship with your
Thank
spirit.
you. That was
Okay.
our question.
So number one is you stop the eroding. You stop the erosion, right?
How?
So
How do you stop it?
you keep your word to yourself. You only think and you only say whatever you are close to 100% certain you will follow through on.
Can I give you an example?
Yes.
And this is multiple clients. I'm thinking of one client in particular, but it's all, I work with kids, I work with all ages. Is at school where I'll say to the kid, what are you capable of getting? What
Mhm,
grade are you capable of getting in this class? And they'll say to me an A plus. And I
mhm,
say, how much effort are you willing to put in?
mhm,
Because if you are capable of getting an A plus, but you're not willing to put in the effort to get an A plus,
mhm,
don't aim for the A plus because you're not willing to put in the effort. Then
mhm,
aim for the B or aim for the A. Okay.
yeah.
And it's worked really well because then they're in integrity of saying, no, I don't care about the A plus. Am I capable? Yes. Do I want to put in the work? No. So
Correct.
therefore, we're pulling it back and we're saying, okay, you are going to aim for an A or a B.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
does that resonate with you? Are you okay if you get a B?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
you can't say I want the A plus, but you're not going to be willing to put in the work
That's
because then
right.
you've got this constant weight of you're not
Hmm.
in integrity with yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, that's
In that example, that is exactly what I'm talking about. and you're talking about it in an incredibly relatable way to a younger person, right? Or anybody who's going to school, because
with anything.
yeah, with anything, yeah, that's why. And you probably experience this with your clients too. When you have a client who wants to like dive into fitness, even though they haven't done it for years or ever, and they say, I'm going to work out 5 days a week, right? That's when I say, wait a minute, hold on.
Well, you know, I'm a personal trainer. Well, I
I
don't do it
know.
anymore, but and I was a spin instructor.
Mhm.
And what I would say to the client was 10 minutes a day.
Exactly.
Don't work out for an hour. Don't overdo it. You're never going to go back, right? So,
Yeah.
but if you start at 10 and you enjoy it and you see the benefits now, exactly.
You
Yeah,
can build on it.
you
You
can
can
build.
build on it. Exactly. Which is why you have to start here. Don't break your word to yourself. And just so your listeners know, the most common pushback that I get when I tell people to do this, right? To not even think, not even say what they're not close to 100% certain they're going to follow through on. They're like, wait, but David, I'm just going to become a lazy mess who doesn't want to do anything. And I'm like, oh, really? Here's what naturally happens when you keep your word to yourself. You will feel more energy within your body. You will
Mhm.
have more inspiration flowing through your mind because you no longer have this, I'm going to call it addiction, to leaking out your energy, leaking out your will
Mm-hmm.
in ways that you had no idea that was what was happening. And so when you contain your energy, right, when you don't blindly let it leak out of you, you will feel a vitality, an
Yeah,
inspiration, a creativity, a presence that
yeah,
you have never experienced before. Now let's add to that. Okay. Um, how do we rebuild our relationship with our spirit? We do it through what I call a daily spiritual practice. Okay.
okay.
And and clients sometimes feel scared, especially clients like me who don't like to be told what to do. Okay. And who can't even tell themselves what to do.
Right.
Here's what I tell them about a daily spiritual practice. It can be for as little or as long as you desire, but it must be consistent and regular. So, like, let's say for me, because I do have difficulty with like healthy habits, I'll be honest, um, I make it easy on myself. So my daily spiritual practice is right when I wake up. Okay. When I want to reach for my phone to see like what texts, what messages I missed while I was sleeping, I stop myself and I look at the clock and I say, oh, I've got 5 minutes. Oh, I've got 20 minutes. Oh, I've got 2 minutes. And then I do my daily spiritual practice. And my daily spiritual practice is I envision the day as I planned it going ideally and wonderful until I go to sleep. Like
Right.
literally, I imagine running through my day, right? Having my appointments, um, preparing my breakfast, uh, doing whatever chore, right? Uh, whatever errand, and then ending the day in a good way. Like I literally imagine this, right? Everything going
Okay.
the right way.
Setting the intention.
Exactly. And you start out your day with an energy that is pretty awesome. They don't have to do this, right? This is mine because it is just easy for me.
I do that too, actually. My daily practice starts before I get out of bed, where I'm just going through my body and I'm
Yeah.
also doing my visualization before
Yeah.
in the
And
morning.
and and here's the criteria that I have for a daily spiritual practice. One, it must be something you enjoy, so it cannot be work. Okay. Two, it must be free of distractions, right? So put your phone on silent. Don't have a TV or radio on unless that's part of your daily spiritual practice. And three, it can be for as little or as long as you desire. Okay. I already shared that it has to be consistent and regular. So you choose the time, you choose the place. But if you do it for 2 minutes, if you do it for 2 hours, congratulations, you did your daily spiritual practice. And the point of it is actually not the thing that you choose to be your daily spiritual practice. That can be anything. It can change every day, right? Or you can have the same thing every day. The point of that daily spiritual practice is you are telling your spirit, I am going to be here and I want to meet you here. and your spirit meets you there and is there with you, and you start building this relationship that is stronger and stronger and regular. So when you say, I want to help my mom because she's not feeling so well, so I'm going to send her a bit of grace or healing, it can happen faster, right? If I say, I don't know how this date is going to go. I'm feeling really nervous. Can you show me some intuitions about how I might go? Right. And so it can come to you more clearly, more easily. Or you're stuck in between jobs, right? And you want to create an opportunity that matches what it is you desire to do for work moving forward. Your spirit says, I've got you. And it starts working behind the scenes to create the opportunity and shows it to you, right? You just want to speed up that process of its responsiveness to you, which is why you want to strengthen your relationship with your spirit and be in
I love
integrity.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love it. And I keep saying, I could write a book about all of the opportunities or the things that pop into my head, or like literally when I've been told when I've lost something, a vision that exactly where it is. And
Mhm.
I go, and that's where it is, right? But that's because I have that relationship, because I trust that it's going
Yeah.
to happen, and I trust that relationship.
Can I give you like a really interesting story?
Of course.
So I'm a psychic medium, right? That's what I do. I'm also an integrity coach, which is what we're talking about today. And I am this person all the time, so I can't like separate parts of me, right?
Me neither.
And so I am a psychic medium and a coach all at the same time. So I have this client. She's over on the East Coast, right? And we've been connecting probably like for 5 years now. And she had this kitty cat who passed away, unfortunately. But she had such a strong bond with it, right? That sometimes she still wishes for me to communicate with this kitty for her, right? And we do. And what's fascinating is that this kitty shows me things about her current life that this kitty spirit has noticed for me to like uh demonstrate that the connection is still there, right? So the reason I share this is not to like brag, right? It's to show people what they have access to if they want to, because I have this daily spiritual practice. I don't tell myself I'm going to do X, Y, Z if I'm not close to 100% certain I'm going to do it. And so I can prove through this practice that I've cultivated that I have access to extraordinary knowing that is not usual. Okay? So so she sent me a text one morning, and she said, "Help, my neighbor's kitty has been missing for 2 days. Can you help with this?" And I saw it in the morning. It was like after my daily spiritual practice, but then I got started with my day and I lost track of it. So at 2 hours later, she sent another text. She said, "Hey, did you forget about us? I need help with this. They're really distraught." And I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Do you want to chat about this?" And she's like, "Yes." And so I had a break during my lunch, and we spoke. And she said, "David, do you have an idea where she might where this kitty might be?" And I was like, "Well, I can tell you, this kitty's still alive, and it's in your area, but I cannot. If I describe where I'm seeing her, I cannot say it's going to be distinctive enough that you will be able to find her." And so my
Right.
client said, "Well, what if we ask our kitty, Suzette?"
To help.
Who's the spirit kitty, right? She's passed on. Let's ask Suzette if she can find the kitty and bring her home. And I said, "Oh my God, that's such a great idea. Let me do that." And so, and so here's Suzette. She shows up in my consciousness, right? She says, "Hi, Mom. Oh yeah, I know exactly where this kitty is. I'll go bring her." And my client said, "Well, where is she?" And Suzette said, "She's up in a tree. She got into a fight with another animal, and she's been up there for over 2 days."
Wow.
Okay. And my client's like, "Oh my gosh, do you know where?" And Suzette said, "She is northwest of your house right now." Okay. And I never know if what comes out of my mouth is actual or symbolic, right?
Right.
And so I just trust it. I just go with it because that's my deal with the universe.
Right.
Um, so I shared this. Suzette said yes, she would promise to bring her home. And so we hung up. And no kidding, like within an hour, I get a text, and my client says, "Guess what? She's back at home. She looks like she's been in a scrape, but she's back home with her family." And I was personally blown away, right? Because I didn't have the idea to have like a spirit kitty like work for you. But it happened to work in this situation because of her relationship with this kitty. Yeah.
Well, I'm not surprised you shared this story
Mhm.
because I don't know if you remember
Mhm.
that the way you connected with Jamie, and Jamie had to have been 3. So Jamie's my daughter. Jamie
Yeah.
had to have been 3, and we had just lost our dog, Girl. Her name was Girl. And you told Jamie, we didn't even tell you, I don't think, but you brought Girl up. You said that Girl was there, and you gave Jamie information from Girl.
Wow.
And that was and then fast forward, like you told her other stuff when she was like
A
she was going to
teenager.
college. Well, she was
Yeah.
going to college, and you told her a whole lot of things that about what she was going to do, and that all came true about who she was going to date,
Mhm.
what she was going to do with art and clothing and stuff like that. It was all true. But going back to the fact that you were even talking about the kitty, but that was how you connected with when we had just
Oh, that's
met,
wild.
and or it was a little bit after we'd met, and you had brought Girl up to her, and you had like, I don't remember the exact information, but you gave her information from Girl.
Oh, I love that because I love my own kitties, right?
Yeah,
So I know how good that can feel. That
yeah,
valid, that connection. Yeah.
yeah,
How
yeah.
awesome.
Wow. Well, I know that you are profound and you make a difference everywhere, and I could have you on for the next. I don't
Oh,
know because you've got
I was
so
gonna
many.
I was gonna say if you want to have a second part to this conversation, I could talk about how this being in integrity and alignment in this life can affect your connection to your other yous and other realities and other universes.
Oh, I definitely think we should do a part 2 about that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Definitely.
Yeah. And the reason I even talk about that, with other clients is because there may be some like qualities or attributes or even skills or talents that you may not feel are strong in you here. I can guarantee there is a you who has excelled in that quality, in that attribute, or in that skill or talent, and you can have access to them and their ability because they are you just in a different reality.
All right. We are definitely going to do a part.
And the question is
Definitely,
like,
definitely.
how the heck do you do that? But yeah, you can do
How
that.
do you do that? David, where can our viewers, listeners find you?
So, easily on my website, which is www.mynamedavidzarza.com. On the socials, usually under at the davidzarza.com because for some reason David Zarza was already taken. Um, yeah, the socials, if they're local, at a local workshop or class. Yeah, yeah.
Is the other David Zarza just you in a
No, it's somebody else. It's another David Zarza.
not
Apparently,
another you?
no, no. Apparently, it's this like little kid gamer who has my same name. Yeah, yeah.
David, we're going to do a part 2.
I
This
would
was
love to.
amazing.
Thank you. It was always
Thank
a joy
you
talking with you,
so much. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Please let us know what. Oh, there's your kitty.
Kiki.
Please let us know what your takeaway was, whether you practiced this, what you thought about it. We'd love to hear from all of you. So till next time, thank you so much for being here and see you soon.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Up Level Your Life with Sharon. Congratulations on taking a step towards obtaining the knowledge and tools for your well-being and your success. But remember, knowledge alone isn't enough. And true transformation comes from consistent action. So, what insight from today's episode will you be able to apply to your life? I'd love to hear from you. Please send me a message. And for more information, please visit my website at www.sharonsavitson.com. If this podcast has been helpful, please subscribe and share. And together we can up-level and inspire more people to live their best life.